All right, y'all, so we're at the end of 2024. We're walking into 2025. Congratulations, you made it. And I think we can all agree there are certain things that our franchises wish they could take back, certain things that they regret. So at the end of this year, we're going to react to this article, every NBA team's biggest regret from the year 2024. Now, only speaking for my favorite team, the Chicago Bulls, I would assume that the biggest regret is not making a decision earlier, right? Holding on to DeMar DeRozan until his contract expired, or holding on to Alex Caruso until he only had 1 year left on his deal. Maybe holding on to Vucevic a little bit too long and not picking the direction. Hell, we're about to go into 2025 and we still don't have a real direction because a lot of those guys are still on the team. That will be my guess. But before we get into this article, let's hear a word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by DoorDash. Y'all know me. I'm using DoorDash multiple times a week, so when they ask, can we partner up? Of course I said yes. I've had food delivered right to my doorstep. I've had retail items delivered right to my doorstep. I've had alcohol delivered right to my doorstep through DoorDash. There are times where I'm in this room recording for 8 hours and I don't really have the time to go to the kitchen to make my own food, so I load up DoorDash and I get the best slice of pizza I can get in my area. DoorDash comes in handy at home, but it definitely comes in handy when I am traveling, not just because I get food delivered, but I also get chargers because Lord knows I leave those at home. But I like to stock my hotel room up with snacks. I can't lie. I need some chips. I need some candy just to have when I'm chilling in the room. Now, since DoorDash is hooking me up with a sponsor, they're hooking you up with the deal. Y'all gotta lock in for this one. All you need to do is hit the link in the description, go to DoorDash and use code Kenny2024. What does that do, you ask? It gets you 50% off up to $10 on your first order of $15 or more. Absolute steal. So again, shout out to DoorDash for sponsoring another video. All right, starting off with the Atlanta Hawks, not identifying a more definitive direction. I mean, I guess so. Sometimes it takes teams such a long time to come to the realization, oh, this pairing that we thought was going to be good is not good. I thought the Atlanta Hawks figured that out with DeJounte and Trey very early on. And they didn't try to make it mesh when it didn't. They said, hey, we gave up 2 first-round picks to get him. Our mistake. We're going to give up, or we're going to get back some first-round picks to get rid of him. And guess what? We got a guy like Dyson Daniels, who's like an all-NBA defender. We're going to bring him into the team. Now, I feel like this is somewhat disingenuous because if the Atlanta Hawks did take the direction that they're talking about, and that's probably trading away Clint right now, trading away DeAndre Hunter, trading away Trae Young, they don't even own their own first-round pick in this year's draft. So if they would have picked the direction, what, they just going to give a top 5 pick to the Spurs? I think what they're doing right now is the right direction and just allow this season to play out before you start making some major things. I still think Clint Capella could be moved, but that's kind of it. Maybe Bogdanovich. But like they have some young guys over there that I really like between Trey and Dyson and Zachary and then Jalen Johnson, who's like an all-star, like borderline type of dude. I guess. Number 2, not keeping Lonnie Walker is the biggest regret. That lets you know that this season, this year, the year of 2024, is almost the perfect year. If your biggest regret is not keeping the 11th man on your roster, you're probably doing something correctly. Shout out to Lonnie Walker. Hope you can get back in the league. The Brooklyn Nets delaying their dismantling. Yes. I mean, I think we can agree that they started off way better than they thought. And it's taken them just a little bit too long to make those trades, right? And then the 2 trades that they did make, it felt like they just were pressed to do it because if they didn't get Schroeder out their lineup, if they didn't get Dorian Finney-Smith out their lineup, they were going to win too many games. So now that means that these next 2 guys who might get moved, you know what I'm saying? They did delay it just a little bit too long. Bringing back Miles Bridges. I just watched Miles Bridges last night play against my Bulls, and he had a big-time shot to go into overtime, which shout out to him. He's been awful this year. Like, really bad. So bad that I had to go look at his basketball reference. Like, is this a one game that I'm watching him being awful, or has this been it's been the full season, y'all? He's been really bad. Next, overpaying Patrick Williams. Okay, yeah, I can agree with that, I guess. We did pay that man Patrick Williams. What's the actual number? 5 years, $90 million. He's starting to look better and better throughout the course of the year. The last week or 2, he's been okay. I still can't say that he's a $90 million type of player, though. They didn't even respect him enough to get his full face in this picture. Oh, man, Pat, we got to change it, man. And they say down here, what? Oh, man. Were they still clinging on to hopes of those old Kawhi Leonard 2.0 comparisons finally coming to fruition? Next one. Cleveland Cavaliers failing to answer the small forward question. I mean, sure. But also, they're the best team in basketball right now. So it's like, yeah, but I think we all right. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the way you feel when you started off this good and you're on pace to win 70 damn games. You know what I'm saying? Next, we got the Dallas Mavericks not getting more value from Jaden Hardy. Interesting. Like some of these ones, like this one is one of the ones that's like, hey, the Dallas Mavericks had a really good deadline last year. They had a really good offseason last year. So we got to pick and choose what their regret is. So it's like grasping for straws. Like, yes, it would objectively help the team out if Jaden Hardy was playing really well. That just adds another ball handler to the lineup and so on and so forth. But they didn't trust him enough that they had to go get Spencer Dinwiddie. And Spencer Dinwiddie's looking hit or miss, but mostly hit so far this season. So I guess it's not one of the ones that we should spend a lot of time on. Losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for nothing. Yeah. Now, we've made plenty of conversation, had plenty of conversations about KCP's departure from the Nuggets, where I don't think that losing him for what it's worth is that big of a thing. It's the not replacing what he provides is more of the problem, because like KCP's this season has not lived up to the contract that he's been given either. But like losing him objectively is tough. They're starting to figure it out a little bit more. I would probably guess that the biggest regret in the grand scheme of things is going to be the Jamal Murray contract. As good as he can be, in the last couple of weeks, he has been very good. That's a lot of money to give a player that probably is never going to make an all-star appearance. So that would be the thing I thought about. Paying a premium for Tobias Harris, that's a regret already? Listen, when you got the salary floor, you got to feel it. It ain't like, what's the number? 2 years, $52 million. That money is off the books. Hey, how about we talk about the regrets of bringing in Monty? When did Monty Williams sign? Oh no, Monty Williams signed in 2023 because he coached the 2023-2024 season. So that can't be a regret for 2024. All right. But like, Toby is what he is, right? He's a veteran in that locker room. He's going to be all right. But the fact that it's only a 2-year deal is not that big of a deal to me. It's just not. It's just not. Paying a premium, you had to pay somebody anyway. Let's pay somebody who's been here before and wanted to be here and could potentially help these younger players develop a little bit. So I ain't mad at this one at all. Not getting a Steph Curry co-star. I've always said it has been one timeline this whole time. So when it was Wiseman and it was Kuminga and it was Moody, I've always said there's only one timeline, and that's the Curry timeline. The thing that happened is that they went on to win, the 2022? Was that 2023? The 2022 championship, they went on to win that. So it's like, hey, we okay. Look, the two timeline thing worked. Jordan Poole, look at him. Jonathan Kuminga didn't play that much, but like, we can have two timelines and still win a championship. When the reality was, you probably can't do it 2 times. So Steph Curry not having an all-star post Kevin Durant, basically. I mean, I guess Draymond did make it once post Kevin Durant, but like a co-star, not an all-star, co-star is mismanagement, man. When you have an all-time great that is still giving you all-time production, in my personal mind, I believe you have to do what you can to maximize that window. And I feel like, again, outside of 2022, they kind of failed at that. So yeah, and like Larry Markin is the name that they're bringing up, and Paul George, players that they could have got, but decided to be a little bit selfish there. Running short on shooters, Houston Rockets. Okay, like this has been such a good year for the Houston Rockets. It's like I was curious what they could have potentially had on this list. Running short on shooters. Sure, I don't have anything to say. They're basically saying that they got streaky shot creators and nobody that can actually shoot. Fine. Indiana Pacers thinking too long term at the draft. So they did draft one of the youngest guys in the draft class, in Johnny Furphy from Australia. And even you can look at this picture. The man is 16 years old, maybe. And I'm trying to remember who was left on that board. Let's go see. They're saying guys like AJ Mitchell and Jalen Wells, which is like, sure, but no at the same time. Because AJ Mitchell is 36 and Jalen Wells is 33. I mean, obviously, if teams in basketball would have known that Jalen Wells was going to look this good, he would have went a lot higher than 33. So this is like revisionist history, because I don't think a lot of people saw Johnny Furphy get drafted and was like, man, they should have taken Jalen Wells. Like, that's us reacted to it now because Jalen Wells is so much better than anticipated. But I'm not thinking about this too much. I mean, yes, they could have got a veteran for sure, of one of those veteran type of dudes. But saying that it should have been Jalen Wells or AJ Mitchell after seeing them be good for 30 games is I can't get to it. Also, what I was looking at wasn't even the real draft. He got drafted 35th. So then now it makes a little bit more sense because AJ Mitchell was 2 picks away and Jalen Wells was, okay. So I was looking at somebody's mock draft, my fault. And even, the mock draft had Johnny Furphy going 30. You know what I'm saying? My point still somewhat stand, I guess. I don't know. Next, getting nothing for Paul George for the Clippers. Yeah, I guess so. A lot of these are just like ticky-tacking away. The Clippers had a sign and trade talks with the Warriors. In the most likely scenario, would have had them walk away with Wiggins, Chris Paul, Moses Moody in the first round pick. Okay, in that case, I 100% agree. I didn't remember that report coming out. So yeah, so you lost Paul George for nothing, but instead you could have got this. But the reality is they used that money to go get Derrick Jones Jr. They used that money to go get Chris Dunn. And while Wiggins is looking better than both of those players, and that first round pick could have been intriguing for what you want to do in the future, like they decided that Paul George wasn't the answer, and they replaced him with a few different role players that help build a new culture on the team. So I'm not faulting them too much for that. Lakers not addressing the supporting cast sooner. Yeah, we made a video about this yesterday, so if you missed it, we talked about this trade and how Rob Pelinka has just been sitting on his hands for the last couple of years. So I ain't gonna revisit that. Go watch the video yesterday if you missed it. Memphis Grizzlies getting greedy in trade talks. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know they were getting greedy in trade talks. They almost had one fall in their lap, too. Before the Lakers swooped in and snatched Jordan Finney-Smith, the Grizzlies were in active discussions to pick him up. Memphis, my microphone being away, so that's why I be ducking and diving. Memphis apparently pushed too hard, though, as Brooklyn declined their offer when the Grizzlies wanted Brooklyn's 2025 second-round pick and offered a top 10 protected first-rounder. Okay. I mean, I guess. I still think they're going to be buyers and they're going to get a deal done. Like, they're going to have to get a deal done. So, yeah, it's not DFS, but maybe it's somebody else. Calling out Jimmy Butler, eh? I think Pat Riley would say he got zero regrets. When you 106 years old, you don't have time for regrets. But I guess calling him out has caused just like a media circus, an unnecessary media circus. So, I'm cool with that. Bucks chasing upside the draft. Now, this is one I can get behind, opposed to like the Indiana Pacers one, because they drafted two like real life super duper quadruple young, like super young dudes. And when they are a team that is trying to win a championship, while I understand the Pacers are trying to do that too when they made it to the conference finals, but like we agree that the Pacers are further away from a championship than the Milwaukee Bucks, right? I hope we can agree there. When you are a team with Giannis and Dame and all these other aging players that need their window to be open for right now, that's when I think you go get the 3-year college vet or the 4-year college vet that could come in and provide us 10 good minutes. But instead, they decide to go upside. And maybe it works out in the grand scheme of things. We don't really know. I don't know about A.J. Johnson, if he fits, or Tyler Smith, if he fits in 3 years down the line. But thinking about what Giannis is right now and Dame is right now, having one of the older college guys just to alleviate just a little bit of pressure, having somebody worthy enough to get some real PT would have been more impactful than going super upside here. But I don't know. Maybe they're looking at the world 3 years down the line when Giannis is aging a little bit and looking for that next guy. And maybe it is one of these two dudes. The Timberwolves traded Karl Towns. Yeah, Cat's picture was the thumbnail. I was like, that for sure ain't no regret for the New York Knicks. But for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 100p. 100p, the biggest regret of the year. Felt like an unnecessary trade for cap flexibility and so on and so forth. We want to be able to bring back Nas Reed and bring back this guy. And because of that, Karl Towns is a casualty. Man, he been hooping his butt off. And as you can tell, they could desperately need him. They've been starting to play a little bit better since Christmas and everything. So we'll see what that looks like. But Cat, he was heart and soul, man. He was heart and soul. Weird to see him in a different jersey, but it's starting to fit. Pelicans never realizing what they had in Dyson Daniels. But you know what? How do I say? I'm sure they had an inkling about his ceiling, right? But they also wanted to continue to build around Z and build around some of the players that they had. And I just don't know if it ever would have been a perfect fit between Zion and Dyson and this guy and this guy. So they recognized probably that Dyson Daniels is a ridiculous defender. I mean, he was one of my favorite defenders even before he got to Atlanta. The naked eye recognized the defensive impact that Dyson had. That was last year before he came down with his injury. I'm sure they know that too, with him being in the locker room every single day. But they also wanted to look at the timeline that they had with Z and B.I. before they wanted to trade him away, and maybe thought that DeJounte Murray just opened up the window for the now a little bit more. I'm trying to help them save face. Hell, I don't know. Next, we got the New York Knicks for getting their all-in during the draft because they went out to get, I guess a lot of these are just draft-related, Diabate and some of the other guys, and they're saying like they had Ryan Dunn, right? Then they have Ryan Dunn, and they had, did they have Daron Holmes? The Knicks made a couple different trades on draft night to move around and finagle a little bit, and they had a couple guys that maybe could have been able to help them right now. And Tom Thibodeau desperately needs more people that he can trust. I don't care who. It could have been goddamn rookie Wembanyama. Tom Thibodeau wasn't going to trust that man, the way Tom Thibodeau be. OKC, being too patient with their first picks. See, I can't get behind this one either. them being patient. They're the number one seed in the Western Conference right now. And they said that they might be buyers this year. So I'm not behind that one either. Not adding perimeter score. I can agree here. We love Paolo. We love Franz. We love these big body bruising point forwards who can play, make, and score, can do all of this. But you do watch that team and say, man, if they just had a guard that can go out there and get them some buckets. And they haven't been able to do that yet. Not re-signing or replacing Buddy Hield. Spoiler alert, the Buddy Hield cycle is at the bottom of it right now. He's been awful for like 3 weeks straight now. So not re-signing him, but not replacing him, sure. You're just basically saying that, hey, the 76ers can use more shooting. The 76ers can use more shooting. Sure. I ain't tripping about that. I don't think it's a single 76er fan that's like, I wish we had Buddy Hield. And they had Jared McCain before his injury. I mean, he was shooting lights out too. I don't know. Ignoring reality for the Phoenix Suns. Sheesh. Yeah, but new owner syndrome. Matt Ishbia came in and said, hey, we want Kevin, we want this, we want this, we want this, and we're going to try to compete. And yeah, after a great start, they're actually a tough watch. And I didn't ever expect that to be the case for a team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. The problem is I feel like they're never on the court together, so maybe that's what makes them a tough watch, but whatever. Overvaluing Jeremy Grant for the Trailblazers. Are they saying that there was a trade on the table that they said no to? Unwilling to trade Grant without 2 first-round picks in return? Eesh. That's expensive for sure. Their regret is extending Mike Brown, sure. Or maybe their regret ends up being firing Mike Brown. Only time will tell. But when you extend a guy in July, then 6 months later you get rid of him, and you're willing to take that money on, you're willing to just pay him out for 3 years, it is kind of crazy. Spurs not giving Wemby more help. I like the time. I don't know, man. I'm disagreeing with a lot of these because I like the timeline the Spurs are playing at right now. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the way they're looking right now. Not finding Bruce Brown deal at the 2024 deadline, sure, because now he don't even play basketball no more. Selling low on Ochai Agbaji. Yeah, that trade felt weird in real time, but Ochai has been really solid this season and had what you would call a breakout from like a role player, I guess. So that's kind of cool that the Raptors were able to snag him up and letting Kyle Kuzma dictate their 2024 deadline. Yo, how insane is it that they asked him, yo, we got this trade on the table for you to go somewhere, and he was like, nah. I feel like that should be saved for the top 1% of NBA players. Kuzma hadn't done anything in Washington for him to get that benefit of the doubt, man. And they gave it to him, and now he's playing some of his worst basketball ever. So, like, whatever trade they had him lined up to go to, was it Dallas? You're not going to get that same value, and that's the problem. All right, you let me know in the comment section, what is the biggest regret for your favorite team? And I'll be down there. Happy New Year.